This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Dover International Speedway, the Monster Mile. And we are here to get ready to watch Round 8 of the Ricmotech Extreme Cup Series. And you're going to see it all live here on LSR TV and the iRacing Esports Network. Hi, I'm Taylor Burris, and with me in the booth today is Steve Bonesteel. Behind the scenes is our director, Hugo Luis. Steve, welcome to the beautiful Monster Mile. And you know what? This track is going to be definitely a proving grounds for these drivers, as we're only 3 races away before they get to the chase. And I tell you what, this track is definitely going to be a monster for some drivers here tonight. Tell us about Dover International Speedway.
Well, Dover is one of these tracks that you come across, and it's got 1 mile to it, and it's got a lot of banking in the corners, 24 degrees, but you also have 9 degrees banking on the straightaways, and that makes things so interesting. You got walls to the inside, walls to the outside, of course, and you get cars that spin around, they come back down the track, and you can find yourself in a huge pile-up. And unfortunately here, you just sometimes never know where the cars are going to go. It's only 1 mile, like I said, so we got 190 laps on the board here tonight. But I tell you what, these drivers, it flies by very quickly. 21 to 22 second laps here tonight, and tire wear is going to come into play. The old concrete surface here wears those tires, it gets hot. If we get any clouds over, you'll find a lot of grip, and then if the clouds go away, car gets slick again.
Definitely going to be a test of driver ability here tonight. But before we get things rolling, as we're waiting for the final few drivers to do their final drivers meeting and qualifying, let's take a quick look at the point standings after the last round at Texas. Currently up atop the leaderboard is going to be Alan Fox, your current points leader, with Bryce Cesnack right behind him in second place, with David Elliott in third, Travis Pryor in fourth, and David Weishart is rounding out your top 5 in the points. Still, though, if you look down towards the bottom of the playoffs there, though, Steve, there's quite a couple of ties going on, especially for those final few playoff point spots before we get to the end of the regular season.
Yeah, these last few races, we've seen drivers like Scottless Bramler, Darren Clement, they've been able to pull across a couple of pretty good finishes there, and then Michael Mueller's on the move as well. And we've also seen some drivers kind of struggle as well with some bad luck over the last couple of weeks. But the points overall pretty tight from about 5th on back, all the way really towards about 13th, and with only a couple races left until we go to chase time, we've got Daytona next week, and that's always a lottery race. Then you go to Kansas and Atlanta, so a little bit of something different each week before we head off. Atlanta, of course, being the first chase race, and we have a week off. Atlanta, good place to kick off the chase. A lot of different lines that you can run there. It's going to be a very competitive race, but Daytona and Kansas after this, it's going to be an exciting one.
Most definitely, it sure will be an exciting races up ahead of us. But due to the fact that we're getting ready to do this, let's give the fans a little bit of info about what this series is all about. This is the 10-race regular season with the 5 playoff race chases that we will have later on in the season. The setups here that these drivers will be using is a fixed setup, but instead of having a full tank of fuel, they're going to have about 75% fuel. So these drivers will have to take a required pit stop at least a couple of times during tonight's event. Of course, there is a couple of drop weeks during the regular season, but once we go into the playoffs, it will be no drop weeks at all. So these drivers are going to have to deal with, though, the changing conditions of this weather and the track state as it continues to progress later into the run. So it's just a quick little overview here, and we are now getting ready to give you the starting lineup brought to you by Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Currently sitting on the front row is going to be David Weishart, currently in that number 33. Alongside him will be Alan Fox in second. Rob Haynes will currently be sitting in the third position. Alongside him, Michael Mueller. Tyler Holloman will start in fifth position. Alongside him will be Tommy Haynes. Jeremy Glenns will sit in seventh position with Mike Franklin in eighth. Nick Hunt will start in ninth position, and rounding out your top 10 will be John Sterling.
Starting just outside that top 10, it's looking like we're going to have Darren Clement there in that number 32 machine in 11th, followed by Mike Rominger in 9th. Leigh Overton will be starting there in 13th, followed by Gary May in 14th. David Elliott starting there in 15th, round up top 15. Jay Pryor, we've seen him have a couple of races where he's come through the back and work his way through the field. He's going to be starting 16th, along with Bryce Senesac. Same story for him. Scottless Rambler starting 18th, a little bit further back than what I've been seeing the last couple of weeks there. He's sitting there in 18th, followed by Adam Eisenhower in 19th and Ed Morris to round out the top 20.
Starting in 21st will be Joshua Gillen, followed by Bobby Tinch in 22nd. Randy Perdue will start in 23rd, with Travis Pryor starting 24th. Tommy Emasi in 25th, Andy Starcher in 26th, Don Kidder in 27th, and rounding out your 28 car field will be Davey Hendricks. So a very stout field, 28 cars taking the grid here at the Monster Mile. And Steve, you're a little bit more familiar with this series. Who are some of the main drivers to keep an eye out for tonight?
Oh, truly, what I've learned is you really have to watch out all the way through the starting grid. You could have those drivers that are up towards the front that look competitive, especially early on. We've seen drivers lead the first 40 laps, get involved in something, clip a wall, or just get buried back in traffic, and then all of a sudden, they're out of the picture for the rest of the race. And then I've seen drivers, the Pryor boys, they move through the field pretty well. Bryce Senesac's been pulling strategy week in and week out. Same with Joshua Gillen in that number 40 machine. So there's a lot of names all the way through the field. I really can't count anyone out. It's just going to be interesting to see who gets involved in something and who doesn't here. Dover, the Monster Mile, they don't call it the Monster Mile for anything. It's going to be tough on all 24 drivers here this afternoon.
Yes, indeed. We are looking forward to seeing what these 24 drivers will do here tonight. This concrete monster will definitely prove to be a quite difficult challenge, as we're now going through the final few pace laps here at Dover. And I tell you what, this is quite an honor to look forward to seeing what these drivers can do here tonight. The pace car is in. Alan Fox on the outside, Dave Weishart on the inside, as they are waiting for the green flag to be flown here at Dover. David Weishart pulls away, green flag is out, we are underway. It's time to get extreme as he pulls out to a several car length lead as they go down into turn 1. Alan Fox will have to battle with Rob Haynes as they come out of turn 2.
And wow, what a start it was for Weishart there as he pulls a big gap down the back straightaway. The number 29 machine of Haynes, he has to do a little bit of a checkup. The 27 has to check up, of course, for that as well. And then they go single file very quickly here. With this new package, I think we'll see a lot of single file racing, especially when it's sunny. But you start getting some clouds out here, we'll definitely see some side-by-side.
Currently throughout the entire field so far, it is single file. The closest battle right now is the battle for 14th between Mike Rominger and Jay Pryor as they go into turn 3 and 4 side by side. Pryor was able to pull the lead. Now here comes the 57 of Scott Rambler as they go down the front straightaway.
And track position is so important here. You got to make these passes very early if you can do it. So we'll keep our eyes on these drivers, but you see there, the 57 gets tight. A number of drivers, they get that aero tightness as you make that big pass. You pull right up on the next driver, you get aero tight, and then you get passed back. So we're going to be watching that all night long as it looks like you got a little bit of a gaggle of cars, starting with the number 3 machine and the 61. That's going to be Lee on the inside line. And then you've got the 3 of John Sterling on the outside line, and then they're all on top of each other right after that.
Yeah, currently right behind those two drivers is the likes of Jay Pryor, who's trying to close that gap, but he is under a lot of pressure from Scott Rambler as they come off of turn 4. They're going down into turn 1. He's going to take a look to the outside. Rambler is. Pryor stays to the inside. Now Rambler shuts the door right in front of Mike Rominger as they come off of turn 2.
And I'm really liking the line that the 57's using right now. But one thing I'm going to say, he takes that really wide corner with a heavy cut on the off the corner after you hit the apex, and that's got to be killing that right front there. So we'll see how that 57 changes his line around, and does he stick to that line all race long. And we got a caution.
Yes, we do. We have our first caution here as we look through the field. It looks like the number 10 car of Gary May got caught up in an incident early on. As we get ready to take a look at the replay, looks like a little bit of contact between him and it looks like the 86 car. That 86 car is Adam Eisenhower, as he made a little bit of contact in the middle of turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, as we pull up the LSR TV replay, looks like just like that slightest bit of contact here with this old surface hot tires, the number 10 machine just goes around so easily. Good little bit of damage there in the 10 machine. Looks like Eisenhower might have escaped with minimal damage. But either way, I think with this new package, as long as the number 10 machine doesn't have engine damage or any suspension damage, he'll be able to fix that up and be alright.
I tell you what, a lot of drivers are considering coming down pit road after just only 7 laps. The leaders are coming down pit road. I believe it's safe to say everybody's going to come down pit road to get some fresh rubber on these cars. I don't think nobody would be staying out this early on in the going, as we have one car maybe. That is currently the number 40 car of Joshua Gillen, who is going to stay out on the racetrack. He will be your new race leader, as the former leaders, David Weishart, Alan Fox, Rob Haynes, all come into their pit box. All of them going to be getting 4 tires and fuel. The race off pit road will be critical here for these drivers.
And yes, the track position, like I was saying there, is so important here. So making up every spot you can on pit road, getting in and out clean, very important. Very low pit road speed limit here, very easy to speed. So luckily, it's not hard to get into your stall, but it's very easy to speed coming in and out, especially on the green.
It is most definitely indeed, but so far, everyone has done well. I don't see no penalties yet, as David Weishart will be your winner off of pit road, followed by Alan Fox, Rob Haynes, and Michael Mueller. That will now be your current top 5, with the likes of the 40 car of Joshua Gillen, who decides to come down pit road now.
And honestly, I'm almost surprised to see the number 40 machine bring it down pit road. We've seen them just not take tires or get that lead lap a couple of times and stay out even in front of the field, and it's worked out probably maybe 25% of the time, but that little bit there, I mean, it's better than nothing. He's been making up points doing it and having consistent finishes, so interesting to see Gillen bring it on down. Probably saw everyone else do it and said, well, got that lead lap and just got to get back out there with the 4 fresh Goodyears.
Great strategy call it might be for the likes of that driver of the number 40 car. And as while we're under caution, if you guys are interested in learning more about this series, make sure you go and check out their website at extrememotorsports99.com. They have a bunch of great racing series that you can have a chance at, from, of course, oval racing to road course racing. Make sure to go check them out at extrememotorsports99.com.
And the Extreme guys, they have numerous series. So if oval's not your thing, they've got a couple of road course series going on. I think they even have something on dirt. Always something going on. These admins here put on a great league for their drivers. So definitely, if this racing looks fun, check it out. And I'm sure you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, I believe a little early on when I was trying to wait and learn some more information, I believe they had a Mustang and Mazda MX-5 series going on at Sebring just a little bit earlier in the day today, so that shows that they have some great grassroots road course racing here on this service.
But road course racing is not what we're doing here tonight. We've got these guys going at the Monster Mile with the iRacing pace car turning its lights off. That means one more time around the 1 mile track, and then the field gets let loose yet again. We're going to have David Weishart leading them to the green flag, followed by Alan Fox, Rob Haynes, Michael Mueller, and Tyler Hallman for your top 5. In that very short first green flag run we saw, what did you learn watching these guys go around?
One thing I noticed a lot is that a lot of these drivers were able to just go single file. Not a whole lot of passing up towards the front of the field. I think everyone was just trying to set a pace to get ready for the longer run if that were to happen. But as now we have some fresh rubber, let's see if anyone's going to be the same and just follow suit, or will there be a little bit more aggressiveness as we get ready to go back under green flag. The pace car is getting ready to come out of turns 3 and 4, pull down pit road, and we're going to turn them loose here again. David Weishart on the inside in that number 33. Alan Fox in that number 73 on the outside. David's waiting. He's waiting. Let's see if he gets a good restart here. He does indeed. Got about a car length as the green flag is back underway here at Dover International Speedway. Weishart pulls out to about a 2-car length advantage. Alan Fox moves into second, while Rob Haynes and the likes of Michael Mueller battle it out for the 3rd position coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, side by side for that position there. You've got Mueller on the outside trying to get on by the number 29. It looks like he's going to make a cut on the corner. Here comes the 52 looking to his inside. That's Tyler Hallman. They go single file down the front. The 27 takes a look. Not able to do anything with it. And here's Hallman back on his back bumper. But you've also got competition right behind him as well. So yet again, we're right on top of each other. Single file.
Yes, indeed, as we have a battle back towards the back of the field for that 12th position between Darren Clements and Mike Rominger, as Clements went way wide coming out of turns 3 and 4. That's going to give Rominger the chance to take the position and even give the shot for Travis Pryor to take a look to the inside now as they're going into turns 1 and 2. Side by side they go as there's a little bit of contact up in front of them. Pryor almost gets to the inside now as Darren Clements has to go into turn 3.
And that caution's back out.
Caution. That would be the number 7 car of Ed Morris. And as we get ready to take a look at your LSR TV replay, again, more contact coming out of turn 2, I believe, with the 86 car of Adam Eisenhower, but not Eisenhower's fault that time. I think Morris just washed up a little bit in beside him as they came off of turn 2.
Yep, that would be the case. And I tell you what, if you need something that kind of shows you how the banking is on the straightaways, take a look at how that number 7 car, once he locked it down, he's sliding there sideways, sliding down the track on a straightaway. You don't get that on all these other tracks that we see here without as much banking or any banking at all on the straightaways, and that's what makes Dover so dangerous. If you get a car at a good angle, they're going to slide down to the inside and then cause mayhem wherever you're trying to go. So it's very hard to predict where someone's going to be spinning out. But luckily, the number 7 did lock it down. Minimal damage again for him. And it looks like the 86 yet again as well. Eisenhower, minimal damage as well.
And with that, some of the field decided to come down pit road. The 73 of Alan Fox will lead them down there. The likes of our leader, David Weishart, decided to stay out. And I think he might have a little bit of rear end damage there to that number 33 Chevrolet Camaro.
Yeah, it does look like he's got a little bit of damage there on that left rear.
And the nose of the car.
I'm going to actually have to put that one up in the lag category there. That's what I was looking at that last run. I thought the 33 had some damage, but he brought it down pit road and all of a sudden it vanished. So I think something with the setup here and his connection might be causing a little bit of a graphics issue there. So I think, don't quote me on it, but I think the 33 is all right. It's just showing us something different.
That might be the case as well, but now we have a couple of new characters up towards the top 5. We also now have the 52 of Tyler Holloman moving up to 2nd. Nick Hunt now going to be setted in the 3rd position with Tommy Haynes in 4th. And John Sterling now will round out your top 5 now, as we are going to be still under caution here at Dover.
And these cautions here, when you're pacing around 45, cautions don't go by too slow. But I tell you what, starting from 45 here can be definitely interesting, especially after you get hot tires. Only after a couple of laps it shouldn't be too bad, but if Weishart stayed out after, say, 15, 20 laps, the tire spin here is absolutely unavoidable. It's gonna happen, and we'll have to see what happens later on in the race. If we see some strategy, 2 tire takers even, Taylor, because if you get tire spin here at Dover, there's obviously, like I've said already a couple times here today, there's only so much track to avoid those drivers. So we'll just have to see what happens, and we'll have to see who takes that big chance, because obviously you don't want to be that driver in front of the field, not only wrecking yourself, but everyone with you.
Yeah, and we have seen that time and time again, not just also on the iRacing service, but also in real-world professional racing here at Dover. Drivers trying that same strategy and taking that risk versus reward type deal, and sometimes it costs them dearly along with several other drivers. So we'll have to keep an eye and see what happens amongst the field, who will be brave enough to take on that strategy, as we are now 1 to green flag here at Dover International Speedway. We're still going to have these drivers take one more lap, as David Weishart will lead them back to the green flag here.
And all 24 drivers are looking to still be on the lead lap here as we get ready to take the green. And I'm looking through some of the bigger movers so far on the night. Bobby Tinch, he started in 22nd. He's in 6th right now. And we've got a couple of drivers that are slowly falling out of where they started. Michael Mueller, he's in 10th right now, the number 27 machine. And then you've got Scott Rambler, who's starting 18th. He's up to 13th. He was looking pretty stout back there. And then, of course, Travis Pryor, every week, he seems to start towards the back in that number 81 machine. He started 24th. He's in 16th right now. So just a couple of your movers and losers so far in the 17 coming to 18 laps we've had so far.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to go back racing here. Can David Weishart pull off another great restart here? As we're waiting for the pace car dive down pit road, waiting for the green flag to come out. David Weishart, your leader, as he's waiting, he pulls off. Not as good of a jump as we see Tyler Holloman still stay side by side with him as they take the green flag down into turn 1. It's going to be now Weishart pulling right in front of Holloman, as now we see Nick Hunt trying to hold off the likes of Tommy Haynes and John Sterling, as we saw Bobby Tinch get a little bit loose coming out of turn 2. He's going to have to now battle with the 82 of Mike Franklin as they go into 3 and 4.
Yeah, we've got a couple of drivers just stacking up on top of each other right now. I'm taking a look. Bobby Tinch, he did lose a couple spots there. And then you've got the 82 right behind him. And then 2 cars side by side behind him, the 29 and 27. They've been side by side, it seems like, all race long.
Problems for the leader right here. David Weishart pulls off the track. He is down below the apron, as now Holloman will take the lead now. Sorry about that. As we see, trying to figure out what has happened to our former race leader of David Weishart. He just practically pulled down below the apron and let the whole field pass him.
Yeah, he definitely did there. I was taking a look at the replay. I didn't really see him get loose or anything, but he might have been having some type of connection issue here, and these admins on top of everything with these guys trying to make sure nothing happens, and might have said, hey, go to the back and try to sort it out. But nonetheless, Tyler Holman out in front now with Nick Hunt trying to chase him down, the 17 and Tommy Haynes behind him. That's your top 3, but we're all pretty much single file.
Yes, indeed. The next closest battle as far as side by side would have to be for then right far to the top 10. Scott Rambler, Lee Overton, as we're almost going 3 wide with Overton, Clements, and Pryor as they're coming out of turn 2. This can't be good. 3 wide they go, as we now see backing out of it. I believe Pryor decided to stick with it. Clements backs off. He now has to battle with Rominger as they go into 3 and 4.
And it's so easy to run out of real estate quickly here, and going 3 wide is definitely not something that's going to gain anybody any time. Going side by side, especially here at Dover, is one of these tracks where it kind of kills both cars. You're going to lose time no matter what. As we got cars in a wall, looks like the 66 Bobby Tinch might have clipped it there. That stacks the drivers up mid-pack, right outside the top 10, and we're all stacked up here, coming from about 10th to 15th and 16th on back.
Yeah, it's trying to get sorted back out. Michael Mueller is now getting in front of Lee Overton as they go into turns 1 and 2. It's still going to be Pryor and Clements who are going to battle it out for that likes of the 14th position, as Rominger also tries to get in the battle. It's now 2 by 2 from 10th on back, 2 cars deep as they're coming out of turn 4 now. It's still going to be 2 by 2 as they go into turn 1.
And this side-by-side battling is white-knuckle racing at its finest. These cars are so tough to handle here as we almost see another driver clip the wall there. Darren Clement's able to keep it off and keep the run on the 61 on the outside. 27 there, Mueller does clear this pack. He's breaking away, and Pryor gets underneath the 66, who's sliding off the corner.
What a save indeed by Bobby Tinch to keep the car under control, and he's still going to fight hard with Lee Overton as they come off of turn 2 now. He's not able to hold him off. Bobby Tinch has to do battle with Mike Rominger as they go into turns 3. Here comes the like of Darren Clements. Take a look to the inside. 3 wide again as we go into turns 3 and 4. Bobby Tinch thinks twice and backs off of it. He's going to lose multiple positions from that incident.
And now taking a look back up towards the top 5 in the field here, we're going side by side for second. Tommy Haynes jumps underneath the 00 machine of Nick Hunt on the outside. Nick's not going to be able to have that run there, and here comes the 17 on his inside. Rob Haynes is only a stone's throw behind him as well. He makes a big dive into the corner. He's going to have to check up there as 00 has the line, and 00 gets tight with the aero tightness as the 17 is right there in front of him. Here comes the 29 on his inside. Haynes is going to be able to make the pass, no contest here, as now the number 17 of Tommy Haynes sets his sight to Tyler Hallman in front of the field.
Tyler Holman has about a 2 to 3 car length advantage over the likes of Tommy Haynes as they come off of turn 2 right there. Rob Haynes looking on in 3rd position after getting by Nick Hunt in 4th. Those 4 have broken away from the rest of the field as we have a battle for 5th between John Sterling, Alan Fox, and I believe this is going to be Mike Franklin's in that 82 car who are going to be battling out for that 5th position as they go side by side. Alan Fox looking on to see who has the better line. Now Alan Fox is going to go to look inside, almost going to take it 3 wide as we go down into turn 3.
And just watching right now is Franklin still working on the number 3 machine of Sterling on the inside, getting tight off the corner. They both are, as Alan Fox is sitting there behind him. He's got Jerry Glenn starting to close in. M. Scottless Rambler picking up the pace as well. We're going to have these cars all battling for these positions here. And this is how, as a driver, you pick up those spots. It's so tough to pass. You just hope that the cars in front of you start battling and you can catch them and almost catch them at a good time to make those passes quickly so you don't get caught up in the bunch. As it looks like John Sterling on the outside now has Fox on his inside, and now the number 98 trying to battle him as well. As Rambler's here, Pryor's here. We've got a whole big bundle of cars right on top of each other.
Tiptoeing, try to get by the likes of Sterling on the inside as these drivers, as now Scott Rambler stuck on the outside. He has to now deal with Travis Pryor on the inside as they come across the line. This is the battle for 9th position, as also the 27 of Michael Mueller is trying to get in the picture here. And with those 2 battling, it's bringing Rominger and Overton into the picture, so these drivers need to try to settle it out as quickly as possible before they could end up losing more positions, as now the 98 of Jerry Glenn goes up to the high side now and getting ready to get past for 8th position. Contact down on the front straightaway there, and all drivers are trying to scatter. As the 7 car now makes hard contact with the 81 of Travis Pryor. Caution is out here at Dover.
And that right there as a driver is the last thing you want to see, of course, for Travis Pryor. You're just trying to battle there, make up those spots, and that slight contact when you come up off the corner, the cars kind of go weightless for just that little bit while they settle on the straightaway. And it looks like the guy on the outside got a little bit of loose. He might have got a little bit of loose as well. And unfortunately now for Travis Pryor, not only does he get clipped and spun, but he gets hit after that. And looks like he's going to have a significant amount of damage on that number 81 machine.
Yeah, as well as Ed Morris, who was an unfortunate bystander for that event, had nowhere to go. And unfortunately, I believe it's safe to say his day will be done here, as Miles the Monster has claimed 2 victims here tonight at Dover.
And with that inside wall here, it's very similar to many short tracks with walls on the inside and the outside. You don't have grass infield to dive your car onto and hope for the best. You don't have any runoff. You've got that wall there to the inside. You just gotta hope you can squeeze on by, and unfortunately for Ed Morris, nowhere for him to go.
All I gotta say is, for Ed Morris, I hope he is not driving a motion rig, because I'm sure that would have definitely hurt if he was on a motion rig. As the field comes down pit road, to complete their third stop of the race for some of them. As we're waiting to see who will win the race off pit road, the top three have come down, the 29 in their pit box, along with Alan Fox and Michael Mueller, as now the pole sitter has finally made it to his pits box. As we're waiting to see, here comes the 52 off pit road, Tyler Holloman. He's going to end up winning the race off pit road, almost 3 wide now. I believe the 17 car of Tommy Haynes is going to win that battle between the likes of Nick Hunt and Rob Haynes, as they're all coming off pit road. So far, everyone has completed their pit stops. I believe the 40 car has decided to stay out for a lap and then now come down pit road. That's Joshua Gillen, currently the number 40 car in the lead provisionally before he will make his trip down pit road.
And that right there is Joshua Gillen's signature move here, as it does look like here he comes down pit road in that number 40 machine. So he gets a lap lead, another one here. And I see the fans there talking about it on the YouTube chat. That is definitely his signature move. When there's a yellow and it's only been a couple of laps, darn tootin' that number 40 machine is going to stay out and pick up a lap lead. But we're going to cycle through to 52 of Tyler Holman. He's going to be leading him to the green, followed by the 17 of Tommy Haynes, Nick Hunt, Rob Haynes, and Mike Franklin. And it's been really interesting to watch how these guys battle. You see someone make a pass and then try to close in on the other driver, and then maybe the guy that got past, he had a little bit of clean air on his nose, and now all of a sudden his car is going to be driving completely different. And that is something with this new package that is so tough as a driver, because depending on the track conditions, if there's clouds, if there's sun, how old your tires are, your car is going to drive different in so many different situations, and you just never know until you're in it.
It is, and that's what's so interesting about this package. It's no longer more of just setup-wise to try and determine who has the best car. These cars are more dedicated to show who has the better driving capabilities to be able to maintain their car throughout a run. And as we can see and find out maybe later on in this race when we have a little bit of a longer green flag run, who definitely has the skills to come home and do well and bring home the checkered flag.
And really, I've been watching everyone inside the top 5, and they've kind of come and gone, with their success so far here tonight. Tyler Holman's been pretty consistent. He started in 5th, but Nick Hunt, he started in 9th, and he looked pretty stout for a good part of that run. But then Tommy Haynes came out of nowhere and just was able to fly on by him. So it's just going to be interesting. Dover's so hard on the tires, and once you have them burnt up, it's really hard to get the car back, because that right front, you use it so much here. You're doing a lot of turning. The track surface is old, it's hot, and we'll just have to see, if you burn your tires up, what do you do? Do you come down pit road, short pit, and then hope for some strategy, or do we continue to see these cautions here as the pace car lights are off? The 52 of Holman picks the outside line. That's the first time we've seen that here tonight. We'll have to see how it works for him here as the pace car is getting ready to bring it down pit road.
Yes, indeed. Tyler Holloman in that number 52 Chevrolet Camaro is going to be leading them from the outside here as they're going in through turns 3 and 4, getting ready to restart here at Dover. Some of these drivers have been able to survive this track. Some have not, as pace car pulls down pit road again, waiting for the green flag to be wove here at Dover. Tyler Holloman pulls away, green flag is in the air. We are back underway as a little bit of issues for the 29 car of Rob Haynes gets into the wall. Tommy Haynes, not the greatest of starts. He drops back to second and has to do battle with Nick Hunt in the 00 as they come off a turn 2. Alan Fox makes contact with Mike Franklin. Could we have a caution? No. Oh, as the now looks like David Elliott makes contact with Franklin. Caution is back out here at Dover.
Oh, and they're stacking up after the initial contact as well. I see Jay Pryor involved in it. The number 61 machine, Lee Overton, he's involved. And then 82 of Franklin, of course, he has a ton of damage on that machine. There's probably about 5-6 cars with significant damage after that.
Yes, as we take a look at the LSRT replay, a lot of issues. Drivers trying to check up, but some drivers just have nowhere to go. And just carnage all through the entrance of turn 3 right there. Unfortunate for some of these drivers who were trying to do so well, and with only a couple of races left before the chase. this is not something some of these drivers need to have. I mean, for example, we have the likes of those, especially like David Hendricks and Scott Ramler, who are tied. When Darren Clements and Jerry Glenn also tied for that 13th position. They do not need to be having issues like this tonight. I believe it's safe to say some of them are okay, but some of them do not to be having these issues.
Yeah, and just taking a look again at the replay, looks like the 73 Alan Fox went to dive it underneath of the number 82 machine. Unfortunately, there was not room there, and that starts to turn the 82 around, and then it's calamity from there. Of course, it's hard to see when there's a car going so slow. He gets rear-ended, turn around, and they just stack up from that point on. And that effect I was talking about earlier, where these cars just slide right down that track, you get turned around, you kind of lose control. Even when you lock it down, you can only do so much. And just like that, we have Calamity Corner.
So we're back under caution here for, I believe this would be the third time at Dover International Speedway. Unfortunate, a couple of cars have taken it behind the wall. David Weishart and Mike Franklin's, their day is done here. Unfortunate for those two drivers. And I tell you what, David Weishart is one that did not be having a not so great night. He's currently sitting 5th in the points, and he's already lost 2 spots from the last time we were at Texas, and already only has 2 wins, so this is not the night he needs to be having.
No, it looks like he's going to be calling it a night. Mike Franklin is going to be calling it a night as well. Travis Pryor, he's multiple laps down, so is Ed Morris, and I have a hunch that some of these other guys might have a good bit of damage, struggle to stay on the lead lap, and of course probably have to get some of that damage fixed. So it's been an interesting start to the race here at Dover, and the Monster Mile is ruthless. And the type of racing that occurs at this track, because of the way it's designed and because of the old surface, there's so much reality that everyone's just fighting for, and then it runs out, of course, very, very quickly.
Yes, indeed. But some drivers currently right now, not wanting to give the commentators curse or anything, but drivers like Rob Haynes or John Sterling, who are down towards the bottom, towards that cut line, having a good night, running inside the top 6, top 7. So these will be definitely needed points for them as we're closing in on the end of the regular season.
And taking a look at some of the other drivers I'm watching right now in the points, Scottless Rambler having another good-looking day so far. Of course, we're only 42, coming to 43 laps in it, but he's now up inside the top 5. He's starting 18th. He's had a steady climb in the points over the last couple of weeks, so we'll have to see how this run goes for him. Of course, here at Dover, with 190 laps total on the board, we have barely chipped away at the iceberg here as the pace car lights go off. And then taking a look at the top end of the field here, 52 of Tyler Hallman again chooses the outside line with the number 17 Haynes on the inside. We'll have to see if Tommy Haynes gets a better restart this time, because he did not get going at the right time that last time. And I think sometimes it's tough, especially as a driver on the inside, when you're not the control car. If you don't have a triple screen setup or VR, it's kind of tough sometimes to see when that car on the outside goes. So I think we might see that 17 kind of hang back just so slightly, so we can see like the nose of the 52. So that way he can see when the 52 goes, so he knows it's time to go. We'll have to see here as the pace car lights are off. We're going to be going back to green flag racing here at Dover.
Yes, indeed, and I gotta say, agree with you on that. It is very difficult to be the outside second-place car when the leader's on that inside. Difficult to tell, as we're now waiting for the pace car to come down pit road, take that hard left. There it goes in. Waiting now for the likes of Tyler Hallman to pull away, as he does right now. Green flag is back underway here at Dover, completing lap 43 of 190. Battle now for second place between the likes of Scott Rambler and Tommy Haynes as they come off of turn 2. Haynes powers through on the inside, giving the opportunity now for Nick Hunt to move on. Rambler, though, holds off the 3rd position as they're going into turns 3 and 4. It is single file pretty much all the way back to 8th place, where we see the likes of Darren Clements and Randy Perdue starting to try to battle it a little bit.
Yeah, these drivers are starting to get in battle position here as Travis Pryor also pulls the car into the garage to retire for the night. The 17 right now has got Scottless Rambler right on his rear bumper. Rambler's trying to make a big dive off the corner, not able to quite get to him there, as they're both trying to close in on Hallman out in front. You can see the 17 makes really big, heavy entries, hard on the brakes or at least off the throttle, and then tries to make an aggressive exit, but that 57 kind of takes a higher entry into the corner and then really gets that hard arc off the corner trying to get the straightaway speed. And right now it's not really looking particularly better either way. Just kind of, you get that aero tightness that I've been talking about, and you can only do so much with it.
Yeah, it's showing to be a real struggle, but I believe Tommy Haynes might have found something. He's less than a car length now from the back bumper of Hallman as they go into 3 and 4. Hallman sticking to the inside while we see Haynes taking a little bit of a higher entrance and then diving it right down to the bottom of the racetrack. He tries to show his nose but can't quite seem to get to the inside of Hallman as they come off of turn 2. Still going to be nose to tail with the likes of Scott Rambler right behind them, about a couple of car lengths back. Has no pressure as we now see Haynes try to take the outside lane. Look to the outside, cannot quite do it as they come off of turn 4. Still, it is going to be Hallman leading here at Dover.
And it's a dangerous game to try to use that outside line to make passes, especially early on. What you got to do on the outside is you have to pinch the driver down on the inside on the exit, and you just got to hope that he's not going to send you into the outside wall. So definitely here, coming to only lap 50, I don't think you'll see some of these drivers push the issue too hard. But we'll have to see as we get closer to the end what these drivers are willing to do to make it happen. There is the 17 again with a big dive into the corner. He's able to get to that bumper, but of course can't really continue that momentum and has to exit, and the 52 gets a little bit of separation on the straightaway, and then again into 3 and 4 with that big dive. 17 trying to get the run down the front stretch. He's going to be able to get it, but he's not able to get to that bumper.
He's trying everything in his power, all that car can handle for him, trying to find a way, but he just can't quite close the deal there, Steve, as they're going into turns 3 and 4. It's about a car length now separate him as he gets a little bit of a higher line, then dives down to the bottom of the racetrack here, going out of turn 4. Gets a little bit of a better run that time coming off of turn 4 as Rambler looks on. He's about 2 car lengths back. Oop, Hallman goes up a little bit high. This could be the opportunity for Haynes to take a look, but cannot close the deal.
Yeah, that little bit of a higher run actually got Hallman a little more momentum down the back straightaway, and that's able to keep him safe in that position for the time being. And then looking back down on the front, looks like he had to check up, and here comes the 17. He shows him the nose. Oh, and he lost the nose there going into the corner. There's the 52, shuts the door. Not going to give an inch here early on.
No, not indeed. That was some great defensive driving. Here comes Rambler now with that mistake from the likes of Haynes. That could close the gap a little bit as back behind them, Nick Hunt holding off the likes of Rob Haynes as the battle for 4th position goes on. The top 5 has separated themselves from the rest of the field as they come off of turn 2.
And throughout a lot of the field, it looks like we are starting to get a little bit of separation. We've got some drivers with damaged machines that are battling with each other all the way back in 15th, 16th, and on back. So we got a couple of drivers back there. Bobby Tinch is one of them. He's been battling there with the number 86 of Adam Eisenhower. And these guys have a lot of damage. Probably looks like some toe damage for some of them. Cars really staggered down the straightaway. So other than that, we really just got our eyes on the top 5 as everyone else is getting spread apart.
Still a great battle amongst throughout the field. Great racing as we now see Haynes try again, dive to the inside of turn 2, cannot get to the back inside of Hallman as they're going down the back straightaway. Ooh, it looks like Haynes almost got into the wall just a little bit, but was able to keep control of the car as Rambler now trying to hold off Nick Hunt and Rob Haynes as they come off of turn 4. He took a little bit of a higher line. That caused the likes of those 2 drivers to close the gap as they go into turn 1. Haynes takes a look to Nick Hunt, gives him a little bit of a bumper as they come off of turn 2.
And of course here on only lap 57, I don't think we'd see some sort of bump and run, but you get us to lap 185, coming to 190 somewhere in there, and if you're number 17, Tommy Haynes, and you make that big dive into the corner, the 52 slow, and you give him that little bit of nose that moves him up the racetrack, I mean, that is Dover racing, that is NASCAR racing at its finest, and we'll have to see here. Because it is so tough to pass, so tough to get that momentum. If the 17's clearly faster and can't quite get around them, what are drivers going to do here as the race goes on? But it looks like Hallman's able to get that car back underneath him, and he's got a little more separation on Haynes, and then a big gap all the way to Scottless Rambler, who is about a second back from these top two.
Yes, indeed. He's been able to lose that track time from the likes of those top two as they're coming off turn 4. But he has to worry about, I believe, about 4 to 5 other cars behind him who are wanting to get by. Nick Hunt, who's been battling with him for several laps now, along with Rob Haynes, who's been close to getting to the inside of Hunt, almost turned him a couple of laps ago, but was able to keep him off of the track. So as they go back down into turn 3 and 4, John Sterling now gets a great run. He'll try to look to the inside, but Haynes shuts the door on him as they come off of turn 4. As the caution is out here again at Dover, looking through the field, see who might have been.
It looks like Joshua Gillen in the number 40 machine.
Oh, let's take a look at the LSR TV replay.
Looks like Joshua Gillen actually caught the tail end of the number 86 machine of Adam Eisenhower spinning around on the back straightaway.
Unfortunate for Adam Eisenhower. He was having a little bit of a tough race as he made contact with the outside wall and then hard into the inside barrier there on the back straightaway, and then contact with Gillen, where Gillen could not be able to check up quick enough to avoid contact.
And that's just going to be a tough break, of course. Eisenhower already having a tough night, and then Joshua Gillen just trying to hang out at the back of the field, and unfortunately you get that car spun out in front of you. You think you're going to be okay, but you don't know where the cars are going to slide, and he slid right into him, unfortunately.
Yeah, looking at the car right now, he is definitely going to need some repairs done to that number 40 Ford Mustang. I mean, he completely has no nose at all, so he's going to be on pit road for quite some time as the entire field will come down pit road. Safe to say, I think Josh will not stay out this time to get his one lap lead.
No, he's going to need to get that machine down to pit road and get that bare bond together, start piecing it back together. Everyone does bring it down in that excruciatingly slow pit road pace of 35.
Well, I can say for these drivers, I'm glad they're probably pitting under caution conditions, because if they were pitting under green flag conditions, if you think this is slow going 35 miles an hour on pit road, under caution is bad. Under green flag conditions, it is much worse as the race off pit road is underway. Tyler Holloman now has to battle who will win it. Holloman is able to hold off Haynes, Rambler, and Hunt as Rob Haynes rounds out your top 5 that comes off pit road. But I tell you what, Holloman almost had to lose it from Tommy Haynes as he was right there as they came off pit road.
Yeah, these pit road battles are a little bit deceiving because you see these cars pull it out of their pit stall and they're picking up all that speed, and then they have to whoa it all the way back down to 35. So it's so hard to gauge who's doing what, and it's hard to call it a race when you're only going 35.
Well, we have now completed 62 of the 190, getting ready to now complete 63, as by the looks of it, a driver will be receiving a black flag for 30-second stop and hold, Adam Eisenhower. He will be coming down to receive his penalty here momentarily. Unfortunate night for him. He was stuck towards the back of the field, got caught up in some incidents, and now has to suffer the penalty.
And then that's going to leave us with 17 drivers on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap is going to be Bryce Senesac. Taking a look at the top 5 as they run right now. You got Tyler Holman in the 52 machine, followed by Tommy Haynes, Scottless Rambler in the 3rd position, Nick Hunt in 4th, and then Rob Haynes in 5th. And those drivers have been within the top 10 most of the night, with the exception of Scottless Rambler, who has had to work his way through pretty much the entire field, starting 18th. And he has done a magnificent job so far here tonight to navigate not only traffic, but accidents and the walls. And that number 57 machine looks clean, and he's right up there where it matters inside the top 5.
Yes, indeed. A great showing from Scottless Rambler. I mean, just a dominant performance of working his way up through the field, making the right calls on pit road as well to get him up towards the front of the field, as we are now getting ready to get the one to go here at Dover. And Tyler Holloman back out on the outside road for this restart. This is going to put Tommy Haynes back down to the inside, and we are getting ready to go back green flag racing here momentarily at Dover.
And it's going to be another restart with the 52 of Hallman on outside. The 17 of Tommy Haynes got a better restart on the inside last time. We'll see if he can do the same this time on the restart. And of course, the 00 machine, Nick Hunt, going to be on the outside line behind the 52. And that's honestly, if you're not going to be in that front row, that's the best spot to be. Honestly, I'd prefer to be behind the guy starting in the lead on the outside than to be on the inside front row.
I agree 100%. I mean, basically, the safest place to be is what line you wind up behind the leader, in a sense, especially after those pit stops, because the leader will have the choice of when to choose to go. So we'll have to definitely keep an eye and see what Nick Hunt is able to do. He can maybe have something for that number 17 as the pace car pulls off pit road. We are waiting for the likes of Tyler Hallman to pull off the green flag, waiting to be wove here at Dover. Tyler Holloman pulls out, green flag is out. We are back underway at Dover International Speedway as they go down into turn one. It is still going to be Holloman, your leader. Haynes second. Hunt now battling with Ramler as they come off of turn two. Ramler is going to be able to pull out on the inside and make the pass for the third position. Here comes the likes of the 29 of Rob Haynes as he is now closing into the back bumper of Nick Hunt as they come off of turn four.
Yeah, Haynes in that number 29 machine had one well of a run coming through the corner, and he was able to get past the number 3 of Sterling. Now he's looking to do the same to the 00 machine. Now Ramler sets his sight to the 17 of Tommy Haynes. Here comes the 29, though, on the inside of the 00 going into 3.
Side by side they go. Nick Hunt, the 00 on the outside, trying to see if he can hold on. He cannot. Try to see if he can undercut the 29 of Rob Haynes as they go down the front straightaway. He cannot do that. You'll have to wait a little bit to see if the 29 makes a mistake, while John Sterling in that black number 3 comes off a turn 2. About a car length separates the two drivers. He's trying to close in as the 32 of Darren Clements looks on.
Yeah, we've got a lot of drivers that are working their way back up through the top 10 here that will be drivers to watch all night long. Here comes the 32, Darren Clement on the inside of Sterling. He's going to be able to try to take that spot as the 3 machine gives him a pinch there, and that actually gives him some contact coming off the corner. He's able to hold on to it, but that number 32 machine really pressing on the inside, and number 3 machine really pinching him on the outside.
Those two are definitely showing they are not intimidated by each other as they go back into turns 1 and 2. Clement's able to do it. He's going to squeeze right in front of John Sterling, make the pass. Now Sterling has to worry about the likes of Alan Fox, who's right there on the back bumper of that number 3. Mike Rominger closing also in that number 9 as they come off of turn 4. As we see the likes of Clements get the wall, this is going to cause Sterling now to go back to the inside. The crossover move is taking place as they go side by side coming out of turn 2.
And this track position oh so important, so when you have the tires to do it, you gotta battle, and that's what they're doing here for these spots on the screen. You got Alan Fox now looking underneath the 32. 32 is gonna have the run on the outside. Now Rominger on the outside of the 73 machine of Fox going into 1 and 2.
Side by side, Rominger, Fox. Fox trying to push him up the track. There goes Rominger, almost in the wall. Contact behind them. David Elliott gets turned by the 61 of Lee Overton as the caution is back here at Dover for the 5th time here tonight. And I tell you what, that was just a little bit of just trying to be avoidance, but didn't know another driver was on the inside.
Yeah, with the 9 machine going up the track, just the slightest contact from Overton turns that number 42 around. And again, no grass, no buffer, just inside wall there for him. And unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have another driver probably bringing that car behind the wall after that heavy contact.
Yes, as you saw on your LSRT replay right there, we saw Rominger get into the wall, then Overton just on the inside of that number 42 of David Elliott. David Elliott did not know he was there, made the contact, spun hard into both sides of the walls. And I believe it's safe to say his night will be done here tonight, as Miles the Monster has claimed yet another victim at Dover.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a race of attrition thus far for these drivers. This track is so tough. passing is so tough. Everything about Dover, when you're racing it out here, every pass is very, very hard, and you really don't get easy passes by any means here. Even when you're just trying to get by a car that you know you're much faster, if you don't have the perfect run, don't have the momentum, or the other driver cuts you off or blocks your line, you lose all your momentum, and all of a sudden, like we've seen all night long, you'll start getting these packs of cars just shape up around drivers who are battling, and you might have 2 or 3 drivers that are faster than everyone else in that pack, but unfortunately it takes 10, 15 laps sometimes to sort those faster drivers through that pack, and that's assuming they make it out cleanly.
Well, a couple of drivers who are going to do a little bit of change of strategy. The number 52 of Tyler Holloman, Tommy Haynes in the 17, Randy Perdue in the number 5 have decided to stay out, along with David Weishart, who is at least 20-some laps down, so he's just out there to try to see if he can get a wave around, but it's safe to say he is going to have to wait a little bit as the leader did not pit. As we're waiting to see the race off pit road, I believe it's going to be the number 29 of Rob Haynes who will win that race off pit road, followed by Scottless Rambler, Nick Hunt, John Sterling, and Darren Clements, your top 5 that win the race off pit road.
And it does look like the number 5 machine of Randy Perdue. He was sitting up there, maybe hoping for a wave by. It looks like he was 1 lap down. Of course, with those top 2 staying out, that's not going to be the case for him, so he did bring it down pit road, and it looks like it's going to be Tyler Holman and Tommy Haynes, 1 and 2, followed by those guys that brought it down pit road. This restart's going to be interesting. Every single lap that you run, especially these first 5-6 laps, there's a huge tire delta, and you'll just have to see here on this restart how it shapes up for these guys. With passing being so tough, sometimes even that large tire delta really doesn't make much of a difference, but it might just be enough since there's only 2 drivers out there on those older tires.
It's all about that risk versus reward type deal, as we're now waiting to see who will survive it. As we are getting ready to go back green flag racing here, we're getting ready to get the 1 to go here at Dover. Waiting to see which line Tyler Holloman will take. He is going to elect to take the outside row here, as we are now waiting for the field to go line up 2 by 2. 16 cars still on the lead lap here at Dover, with the likes of Joshua Gillen, the first car 1 lap down in 17th position. Tyler Holloman, the number 52, has led for quite a long majority of the race after the likes of the number 33 of David Weishart had some technical issues. He had to come down pit road and had to fix the problem, so he is now 23 laps down, not in any more contention to complete this race, as several other drivers have taken it behind the wall. Jay Pryor, Mike Franklin, David Elliott, one of the main front runners early on in the races, along with Travis Pryor and Ed Morris.
But the pace car lights are off, and we'll be seeing it dive down pit road. He makes the left-hand turn down pit road. Now Tyler Holman waits for the green flag, and away we go yet again here at Dover. Taken lap 77, green flag is back out.
Great restart by Tyler Holman. Tommy Haynes able to hold on to that 2nd place, but the fresh tires of Scottless Rambler look to the inside as they come off a turn 2. Side by side they go. Rob Haynes looks on also to the inside. Now we see the likes of Tommy Haynes stuck on the outside. He's going to lose multiple positions as they come off a turn 4. Haynes shuts the door on the likes of Holman. Here comes now John Sterling, Nick Hunt. Tommy Haynes cannot find a way to get to the bottom of the track. He is going to be stuck there for quite some time, as now the likes of Lee Overton and Alan Fox battle it out for that 7th position.
And now Tyler Holman's got a mirror full of Rambler coming through 3 and 4. Rambler looks to the inside down the front straightaway. Here comes the 57 on the inside. He almost gives him a tap there. He might have. And he's got the nose. He's clearing the 52. And here comes Rob Haynes trying to make the pass as well.
Rob Haynes at number 29 Ford Mustang trying to get to the back bumper of Tyler Hallman. He's going to take a look to the inside. Can't quite get a nose as they come off turn 4, though. He will stick his nose under there as they make the drag race down to turn 1. Side by side, they're going to go. Here comes Rob Haynes. He's going to easily make the pass with that fresh rubber. Now John Sterling now is going to take the fight, along with Nick Hunt, to get by Tyler Hallman, who is currently sitting in that 3rd position, trying to hold off that number 3 as they go out of turn 4. Sterling, Nick Hunt, and I believe now Lee Overton. Oh, as Hallman gets into the wall.
And this is just going to be a key moment for that 52 of Hallman. He's got to hold on to these spots, but it looks like just like the 17 of Tommy Haynes, he's dropping like a rock. Tommy Haynes now outside the top 10 as he's falling back, and so is the 52. And just like that, those two are not having any tires here. Even with the small tire delta, you get shoved up to the outside, and unfortunately it's a freight train going by on the inside.
The driver now stuck to the outside is Lee Overton, but he's got fresh rubber. He's battling with Alan Fox for that 5th position. Alan Fox in that purple and white 73 Camaro against the black and yellow Ford Mustang of Overton as they come off of turn 4 side by side. Overton tried pinching Fox down, but cannot succeed. Fox now on the inside is going to complete the pass as they come off of turn 2. Now the 27 of Michael Mueller is going to try to do battle with Overton as they go down the back straightaway.
Yep, Mueller looking on the inside, Overton on the outside, and he's able to get that run. And now the 32 of Clement looks to the inside on the 61 of Overton coming into turn 1 and 2. He's not really able to make much of a run, but he still does have the nose. Side by side now down the back straightaway they go, but the 61 has a little bit of a run. He clears the 32 of Clement, but Clement's not going to be laying off. Here he is yet again, puts the bumper to him coming off the corner there, looks to the inside, and again going into 1 and 2, almost makes contact there on the 61, still side by side.
Great side-by-side battle for P7. Overton now shuts the door on Clements as they go into turn 3. Now Clements has to try to find a way to close the gap. He gets a great run off of turn 4. He's going to now try to dive to the inside as they make the run to turn 1. Side-by-side they go. Clements now powers up. He's going to put the slide job on the likes of Lee Overton as they come off of turn 2. Overton tries to do the crossover but cannot get underneath as they go into turn 3.
And now we're going to have to turn our eyes back up towards the top 2 of Rambler and Rob Haynes. They have gotten a little bit of a breakaway on Sterling, but now the 29 machine is closing in on Rambler, and they are right next to each other here. The 29 within striking distance. If he can get the bumper to him and show him the nose to the inside. That number 29 machine looking very stout this run. The 57 running a little bit of a defensive line to keep the momentum down the straightaways. But here comes Haynes in that number 29 machine looking for the lead.
Rob Haynes of that 29 Mustang doing a great job of trying to follow in the tire tracks to keep that momentum up, so if that likes of Scottless Rambler makes a mistake, he is there to capitalize on it as they come off of turn 4. Car lanes separate the top 2 as they cross the start-finish line. 88 laps complete of the 190. Haynes on the inside. Rambler takes a little bit of a higher line as John Sterling is pulled away from the 4th and 5th position car who are about to do battle. And as the field comes by to complete lap 89, we are on lap 90. So as the field is getting ready to come across the line here and complete that lap, we are going to do a mid-race break. So let us take a quick look of our Ford Entertainment Group mid-race review. Currently, at the top of the leaderboard, it is going to be Scottless Rambler, followed by the likes of Rob Haynes in 2nd, John Sterling in 3rd, followed by Nick Hunt in 4th. Alan Fox currently sits in the 5th position with Michael Mueller in 6th. Darren Clements is 7th, followed by Lee Overton in 8th position, Tyler Holloman in 9th, and rounding out your top 10 is Tommy Haynes.
And looking just outside that top 10, we've got Mike Rominger, Gary May, John Glennon 13th, followed by Bryce Senesac 14th, Bobby Tinch currently running in 15th. then Randy Perdue, Joshua Gillen, and it looks like Gillen's going to be the first car 1 lap down in 17th, followed by David Elliott. He's there in 18th, David Weishart in 19th, and Adam Eisenhower to round out your top 20.
Currently sitting in 21st position is going to be Jay Pryor. He is out of the race along with Mike Franklin's in 22nd. Then the likes of also Travis Pryor in 23rd, and Ed Morris rounds out your 24 cars who are in this race. That's been a look at your FEG Midway Race Break. FEG PCs has been serving the iRacing community with custom-built, affordable computers specifically built and tuned for iRacing. Your PC will come with everything you need preloaded so you can get racing as soon as it hits your doorsteps. Get yours today and join the 600 plus iRacers already enjoying an FEG PC. PCs to fit every budget from $540 and up. Visit www.fegpc.net and mention the code LSRTV10 and get your build quoted today. Back here underway as we are approaching lap number 96 of the 190, under 100 laps to go at Dover International Speedway. Scottless Rambler still your race leader, followed by Rob Haynes second, John Sterling holding on in third with Nick Hunt, and Michael Mueller was able to get by Alan Fox to move into the top 5 here. And I tell you what there, Steve, the battle for those 3 drivers is closing up just a little bit.
Yes, that is for sure. And I tell you what, earlier on you asked me who I thought we needed to watch, and I remember Mr. Rambler there in that 57 machine. He was one of the guys I had my eyes on. I mean, to be able to move all the way from 18th all the way up to 1st right now is impressive, but it's not going to be an easy place to stay. He better not unpack his bags, because here comes the 29 yet again, picking up the pace. But right behind them is John Sterling in the 3 machine closing in. We're going to have a 3-car battle for the lead.
Here they come off of turn 2. Rob Haynes right on the back bumper of Scottless Rambler as they go down the back straightaway. Here comes John Sterling taking a look to the inside. Let's see if he's got enough horsepower coming off of turn 4. He gets a nose at the rear end of the car but can't quite get to the inside as they come down into turn 1. Rambler takes a little bit of a higher line. This caused Rob Haynes now to try to look to the inside with John Sterling looking on down the back straightaway. Rambler shuts the door on Haynes.
As this battle for the lead continues to happen there, the 29 gets another look at it. He's not able to make the move, and here's John Sterling as Rambler looks like he's going to let him by.
New race leader Rob Haynes moves up to the top of the leaderboard. Your new race leader, followed by John Sterling holding on to second, with Scottless Rambler holding on to third as they go by the lap traffic of the likes of that 40 car of Joshua Gillen, who's going to go down pit road, as the rest of the field pretty much is single file. Throughout the rest of the field, I think the only battle other than the top 3 right now would have to be for that 11th position or 12th position between Jerry Glenn and Bryce Seensack as they come off of turn 2. I believe Bryce was able to pull away.
And I really do like the move that Rambler made, just letting those drivers by. He's in the points battle on the cut mark for the chase, and one of the drivers he's battling is Michael Mueller there behind him. Another driver is going to be Joshua Gillen, who is 2 laps down and essentially out of contention here. So even as the 27 here comes down to his inside to go on by the 57, Rambler thinking long term as he almost gives him a bump there with the big time move on the 27. But Rambler's thinking long term strategy here as we are only just past halfway. So there's plenty of racing here left tonight. We know Rambler's fast, but I continue to look back up towards those top 2, Rob Haynes and John Sterling. John Sterling looking very stout this run as well. And John Sterling might be putting on the pressure here momentarily.
He certainly is at black number 3. All over the back bumper of the 29 Ford Mustang of Rob Haynes as they go down into turns 1 and 2. About a car length separates the 2 drivers as they come off of turn 2. Rob Haynes gets right up against the wall, almost makes contact. John Sterling there to capitalize in case a mistake happens. But here comes Michael Mueller in the number 27, closing little bit by little bit as they come off of turn 4. About 2 to 3 car lengths separate the 3 drivers as they go back down into turn 1. Mueller taking a little bit of a higher line into entrance, while the other two of Haynes and Sterling stick to the low line. And I tell you what, another driver on the move is the likes of that 32 of Darren Clements. He's looking to the inside of Nick Hunt to take that 5th position away as those two go side by side coming off of turn 4.
And it looks like Nick Hunt's going to be hanging tough on the outside. He has not given an inch this whole race long, and I wouldn't either here with how hard it is to pass. Coming through turn 2, though, it looks like Darren Clement does get the run. He's able to make the pass, so move the 32 up into 5th position.
Don't count him out yet. He tried to get to the back bumper of Darren Clements coming off of turn 4, but could not hold on. Put him now a couple of car lengths. Now move Darren Clements back into the top 5 here as they're coming out of turn 2. It is still Rob Haynes holding on to the lead. But I tell you what, Michael Mueller closing into the back bumper of the top 2 as they go into turns 3 and 4. John Sterling gets a great run off of turn 4. He's got, a little contact right there with Rob Haynes making a contact to the outside wall. Sterling had to make a evasive maneuver to prevent him from getting into the back bumper. This is going to cause Mueller to close that gap even more.
Yeah, with Mueller sitting there behind these top two drivers battling it out. Mueller's might be saving a little bit of tires there as he goes very high in 3 and 4. Might have slipped up just slightly, but he's going to have a big run because of it, taking it down the hill there down the front straightaway. So these top 3, yet again, we have 3 drivers battling for that top spot. And I do believe we still have a green flag pit stop on the books if we stay green. And that right there, with the amount of tire fall off that we see here at this track, sometimes it's up to 2.5, 3 seconds. And that right there could really create some tire strategy, of course, as the race goes on. And if we do get that caution, how does that switch things up here as Rob Haynes continues to hold off Sterling for that top spot? Mueller sits there in 3rd, trying to close in. Darren Clement as well, trying to close in as he's made his way inside that top 5 with Scottless Rambler just kind of sitting there. Might have burned up his tires a little bit, trying to cool him back off. He's sitting there in 4th.
We are now under 80 laps to go here at Dover International Speedway. Now, Steve, this is the question now. When would be that appropriate time to pit? Because if you pit too early, there could be a possibility if the caution comes out, you could be caught out there off pit road or out on the track with fresher tires than everyone, but everyone else will be coming down to get fresher tires than what you would have. So the timing is going to be absolutely perfect for these drivers that we'll have to see. What would be your strategy call?
Well, I tell you what, I've been on this iRacing service making calls I've been on peak antifreeze teams and making calls, and I would not want to have to do that with this new package because it is a guessing game. Honestly, if you're a driver that's out in front, you know you're fast. If you see a car pull down that's sitting, 5th, 6th, something like that, or even within that top 5, you got to be the next car to pull it down. You can't take that chance of one of these other drivers who are almost as fast as you, or maybe even faster than you, just not able to make the passes. You don't want him to be able to get in front of you because of fresher tires, because it's going to be hard for you to get around him. But then, if you're the first car to come down and you're the leader, you never know if you might see a few drivers stay out and try to stretch it on you, and you get that caution, and now you're going to have to make passes again. So with this new package, it's just a lottery when you're trying to come down pit road. Honestly, the perfect situation is when everyone comes down within 1 or 2 laps, and there's no guessing, there's no drama. But with this new package, you always have 2, 3, 4 drivers that try to make it interesting, and drivers like Bryce Senesac. He's done it so far a couple times this season, so I'm going to keep my eyes on him. Tyler Hallman, he's on the older tires, of course, after staying out on that last caution. Only 5 laps difference in tires, but maybe he's going to be that first car to bring it down pit road, and he'd bring the 17 with him. Tommy Haynes sitting there behind him.
Yes, indeed. So we got to keep an eye on that. I can already say one driver has already made the attempt to come down pit road. That would be the 98 of Jerry Glenn, who has come down. And I tell you what, with that fresh rubber he is definitely moving through the field, as now Lee Overton will give up his position and come down pit road. So some of the back markers towards the back of the field, those outside the top 10, are going to start making their way down pit road.
And that right there as the leader, I wouldn't be too concerned about, but something you do have to watch here is Rob Haynes has gotten a little bit of a breakaway on John Sterling and Mueller behind him. You're going to have these cars on new tires absolutely flat flying around the track, and of course it's not going to be for track position for a lot of them, or for almost all of them. But they're going to be flying around you, trying to get by you, and the last thing you need happening is to get caught up or get a big checkup, get a little bit of damage, or even get in an accident with these cars trying to get by you. So it's almost incentive as a leader to bring it down pit road just to stay out of trouble.
Good strategy call. We'll have to keep an eye and see what our leaders do as we have completed lap 119 of the 190. As we're closing in. Oh, almost a little bit of close call between Clements and Gillen as they came off of turn 2, but they were able to keep it clean as they come down into 3 and 4. Clements trying to find a way to get by Scott Ramler as they come off of turn 4, but can't quite seem to get to the inside.
And as that happens, you've got Michael Mueller, who continues to try to work on John Sterling for that second position. And I've seen Mueller take a number of different entries and a number of different exits, but here comes the number 29 machine coming down pit road, and here comes the 27 as he passes the 29, who was the leader.
Yes, indeed. A couple of guys are going to stay out on the track. John Sterling, Darren Clements, Nick Hunt, Alan Fox. Those along with Mike Rominger, as Rob Haynes, Mike Mueller, as well as Scottless Ramler. A couple of other drivers who have also pitted, Tommy Haynes, Tyler Holloman, and Bobby Tinch as well. So we have some of our main front runners coming down pit road this time. So let's see what will happen to our leaders. Will they respond? Here they come. Rominger comes down. Sterling. Still waiting to see who else will come down pit road. I believe Clements and Hunt, Fox, and Senesac stayed out a little bit longer. But they got to determine when to respond to these pit stop strategies. As we're seeing Clements still staying out, along with, I believe, Nick Hunt as well, who's also out on track, as these drivers are now coming back out on the track. Some of these drivers have to be so careful, as here comes Clements coming by these two, as now Nick Hunt is also going to come down pit road. Darren Clements staying out another lap, so Darren has to be really careful because he could be caught out in a very precarious situation where he could be multiple laps down due to the fact of how faster these drivers who have already pitted.
Yeah, if Darren gets a caution, he's going to want it to happen in about 3 laps if he continues to stay out, because that'll mean these drivers get a little bit of wear in their tires. We've already seen what that does on the restart there, as Alan Fox is down on pit road. Michael Mueller was able to win the battle between the 57 and him and the 29. So right now the 29, Rob Haynes battling with the 57, Ramler. That was a dramatic not only entrance for the 27, making a big dive and making the pass on the 29, but they went 2, almost 3 wide on exit.
Close battling indeed, as our race leader, Darren Clements, will come down pit road to complete his pit stop. As the field goes by, David Weishart, I believe, might have missed pit road, giving way. This will now give the lead over to Bryce Senesac, who will now move up to the lead. Gary May also stays out on track, as those will be the only 2 drivers who have yet to pit here at Dover.
And to put it in perspective, the amount of tire wear there is and how much slower it makes you. Bryce Senesac running mid 24-second laps, while we've got Michael Mueller, Rob Haynes. They're running about 22 flats right now, so 2.5 seconds quicker here for Bryce Senesac. He does, of course, have a lap on them at the very moment, but when he comes back down, he's going to have a lot of ground to make up here.
He will indeed, as Michael Mueller currently going to be sitting, I believe, in the 3rd position when they come across the line. As he comes across now, the battle still going to be closing in on to getting back on the lead lap to get by Gary May and Bryce Senesac. As Gary May watches on. Ooh, as we have a little bit of trouble on the back straightaway. Joshua Gillen gets back into the outside wall, climbs back up to the racetrack as some of those main front runners are coming by.
Dang, and a very intense moment of that was, it looks like the 40 machine kind of just got, I'm not even sure. There may be a little bit of suspension damage and hard to control that car. He had all the heavy contact earlier, but luckily there, no one got caught up in that. We've still got 2 drivers staying out on the racetrack, and time is closing in between them and the guys trying to unlap themselves.
Well, it's already safe to say Bryce Senesac will come down pit road, giving the lead over to Gary May, your new race leader, but it might be too little too late as Mueller, Haynes, Ramler, Sterling have already unlapped themselves now. Now, it's only just a matter of time before we'll see those drivers battling it out again for the race lead. As Gary May waves the white flag for him, he is going to come down pit road to get his pit stops completed.
And by no means was I surprised to see Senesac try some type of strategy. We saw it work out pretty well for him at Indianapolis until some late race cautions, and he's done it a couple of times here, but today he had some damage on that 09 machine, so he was just hoping, fingers crossed for the yellow, and unfortunately he did not get one. But right now it looks like the fields are going to be starting to cycle back out to Michael Mueller and Rob Haynes. They're going to be the top 2. And then John Sterling and Tyler Hallman now with the same set of tires that everyone else has. He's going to be sitting there, I think, in about 5th now that there's no big difference on tires.
Coming across the line, it is going to be Michael Mueller, your new race leader, followed by Rob Haynes in 2nd place, Scottless Rambler in 3rd, John Sterling in 4th, and Tyler Holloman back inside the top 5 after he had some issues early on with those not-so-good tires, those last green flag run we had, as him along with the 17 of Tommy Haynes stayed out under that last pit stop a few moments ago, but now has climbed his way back up to the top 5, and now let's see what that number 52 car can do as we are now under 60 laps to go.
Yeah, with under 60 laps to go, I think that we're good on fuel at least to the checkers, but if we get green-white checkers and we can have 4 of them here in this series, I don't think you can make it. So I think things are still going to be pretty darn interesting here if we stay green. I'll have to take a look at my notes, but right now Michael Mueller is in front. He's got a little bit of a breakaway from the 29, and David Weishart navigates his way, and he's like 24 laps down, so no worries for him. He's just out there running. The 33 machine had some mechanical issues earlier on, and just trying to salvage the night and pick up spots where he can.
Yes, unfortunately here on the iRacing service, it's not that we have to worry about blown tires or an unstrange, weird way of blowing an engine unless it's overheating or missing a shift, but it's worrying about making sure our connections are working properly here. So one of the unforeseen things that happen on the iRacing service, but still great racing throughout the entire field here as Robbie Haynes is closing into the back bumper of Mike Mueller as they go down the back straightaway.
And as they are going to be navigating a couple of the slower cars, that can make things interesting because there's only so much track. There's really only about maybe 2 different lines that you can run here and be fast and trying to make passes. If there's a slower car in that line that can definitely hold you up here, as the 29 gets a big dive going into 3 as they're coming up on Randy Perdue on the front straightaway here. We'll see how they navigate them going into 1 and 2. Here comes Mueller down to the inside. He's got a little bit of a run. Is the 5 just going to let him have it? And I don't quite think so, as they almost make contact coming off the corner.
Close call between the 2 drivers as they go down into turn 4. The 5 car makes contact with the outside wall. Mueller on the outside. Haynes on the inside as they come off of turn 4. Haynes still trying to hold strong on the inside, but Mueller shuts the door on him as they go into turn 1. Nose to tail, the 2 drivers will go. These 2 have been battling for several laps now as Haynes gets a great run off of turn 2.
Yeah, Haynes got a little bit of a run there, but Mueller got a better one to hold him off, and it really looks like the 29 machine's really strong in 3 and 4, and the 27 machine's pretty strong in 1 and 2, but if that 29 could just set it up right on the exit of 4, get a nose on him going in 1 and 2, I think that number 29 machine might be a little bit faster than the 27, and the 27 does have the slightest bit of damage, probably not really affecting that car much, but it could be impacting it just slightly.
Just a little bit, but he is still holding strong, leading this race here as they go down into turn one. Mueller on that outside lane trying to make it work, while Haynes sticking to what he knows, sticking to the bottom of the racetrack as they come down the back straightaway. Looking through the field right now, Scottless Rambler several car lengths back from the top two, battling it out for the lead. Other than those top two battling, there is really no other battles out on the track here at Dover.
Yeah, the one thing that I am watching at the very moment is Darren Clement in the 32 machine. He is working his way through some of these cars that came down pit road a little bit sooner than he did. He stayed out about 3 or 4 laps later than some of the other drivers did. So he's going to have slightly fresher tires. He's 5.5 seconds back from the leaders there. He's sitting in 5th, so he's in prime position if we do get a yellow. And then Tyler Hallman, who was sitting there in 5th, he came down pretty early with Tommy Haynes to get fresh tires. They have fallen now back towards the tail end of the top 10. And that is really some of the bigger things that I've seen since these pit stops. Bryce Senesac, who stayed out pretty long with Gary May. Bryce Senesac's the first car 1 lap down. Then you've got Gary May behind him. Bryce Senesac's in good spot if we do get a caution, get the lucky dog, but unfortunately for Jerry Glenn, he would have to take the wave by, and I'm not so sure that's a good strategy to take here at Dover.
No, I would have to agree, but I tell you what though, Bryce Senesac, he is no longer going to be 1 lap down, as he was able to power his way back by Michael Mueller to get back on the lead lap along with Jerry Glenn. So now it's Gary May, the first car 1 lap down, as 12 cars are still on the lead lap, as some of you Randy Perdue fans are sad to hear that he has took it behind the wall. His day is done here at Dover, as Miles the Monster, I gotta say, he's quite hungry tonight. He has taken out several drivers here tonight, and unfortunate for him, his day is done.
And I'm just watching here. The iRacing service has done such a great job with these dynamic track surfaces and the dynamic weather here. The track's rubbered up. You can see it there. You got the black stripes all the way around. Just looking absolutely incredible. And not only is that visual, but that impacts how the track drives as well. And that is important for the drivers to know how that works and what lines to use. And I can tell you what, there's probably a couple different areas on the track that are extremely hot from the majority of the field running it. And then you've got these top 2 drivers with a little bit of leeway, as a big checkup out of Rob Haynes trying to navigate that lap down traffic. But these guys out in front, they can kind of navigate these different lines and try to find something a little bit cooler with a little more grip to start maybe trying to find something that the other guy doesn't know. And that dynamic track surface so important now on the iRacing surface.
Ooh, trouble for Rob Haynes. He has slowed down, went below the apron a little bit, but comes back up on track. He's going to lose multiple positions as John Sterling and the likes of Scottless Rambler will go by. He's going to drop to the 4th position. Now has to worry about Darren Clements. Unsure of what happens. Here comes Clement now to the outside. He's going to make that pass on Rob Haynes, and he is slowing way down along with John Sterling. Could we be seeing some possible tire strategy going into play?
Oh, as Rob Haynes spins it.
Rob Haynes spins it going into pit road. He is blocking the entrance to pit road, waiting to see if he can get it around. No, he will tow it. So whatever strategy that Haynes had has gone out the window and cost him dearly.
And that has to be a very frustrated driver to pull it behind the wall. Maybe some type of mechanical issue, maybe even. But unfortunately for him, that number 29 machine is going to take the tow. I'm not sure if he's getting back in the machine or not, but he's sitting there. He's the 7th place driver in points, so every single point counts that he could be losing here.
Yes, indeed, and this is not the night that he was running so strong, pretty much for the majority of the race, running inside the top 5, and just one mistake. This mistake could cost him a chance of making it into the chase.
And I do have to question if these guys really can make it on fuel. They might have been just outside of their fuel window there with that last caution. But of course, maybe looking at that tire strategy here as we've got 40 laps to go, I think you can make it about 50, 55, somewhere in there on fuel. But I'm just not sure. And of course, with 4 green-white checkers possible, anything can really happen there, and you need to make sure you have the fuel there to get you to the end. The 3 of John Sterling is going to be able to come out just ahead of Michael Mueller there. to salvage not losing any more laps. But very interesting strategy calls all the way around. The number 29 machine, after taking that tow, he does get the car back running. Perhaps he had some type of stall and he wasn't able to get the engine back going and he had to take that tow. But it does look like the 29 machine did not retire and he's still back out there racing, but he's going to be a number of laps down.
Yes, indeed. Unfortunate for him, as he has had a strong run, but unfortunately his night will most likely be done as far as taking home the checkered flag here. Looking through the field, Jerry Glenn also has decided to come down pit road to complete another pit stop for him, as we're going to see what could happen to the likes of our top three. Michael Mueller, Scottless Rambler, and Darren Clements currently sitting your top three drivers as they're going down into turn one. Mueller having about a little over a second over Darren Clements and Scottless Rambler as they're coming out of turn two. Closest battle would have to be between Nick Hunt and Mike Rominger, as well as Darren Clements. They're all within a couple of tenths of each other, as we now see Nick Hunt coming down pit road.
And with these drivers coming down pit road, that kind of turns the pressure on for Mueller, for Rambler, the drivers that are staying out. Do they know if they can make it to the end? Are they waiting for a caution? Are we going to wait until maybe 5-10 laps to go, take 2 tires, or take no tires and just feel only and hope for the best? A number of strategies are on the table, but it's tough to call because you could have a caution, you could hit the wall, and everything has to change.
Who will be brave? Who will risk it? Who will try and reward themselves with trying to get into the chase? Or who will have it taken all away from them and miss out on the opportunity? As we are closing in to the final 30 laps here at Dover International Speedway, Michael Mueller currently sitting up on the top of the leaderboard right now, as some of those who are towards the back of the field have completed pit stops, thinking that the tires may help or they may not have not enough fuel to finish the race. As we now see a couple of more drivers, Bobby Tinch, who is running 11th, coming down pit road. Nick Hunt, one of the top 5 runners, also made down pit road. He has completed a stop. And so far, we are waiting to see what our leaders will do. Michael Mueller still staying out on the track, but got a 1.1 second lead over Scottless Rambler in that number 57. As here comes Mueller and Rambler. Darren Clements will stay out. Anybody else coming down pit road? No. Nick Hunt is coming by the leaders as he will try to get a lap back. Now here comes also Tommy Haynes. He will most likely move up to the second position, along with maybe Tyler Holloman, who will also move up into the top 3. So it's now just a matter of time to determine who is going to be brave enough to stay out as Darren Clements comes back by to complete another lap.
And it's going to be interesting to see, do we see any 2 tires out of these guys that brought it down pit road? I really don't think that we will, but if you're brave enough and you think you're consistent enough, it's a strategy to do. Looks like everyone's going to be 4 tires out of those fellers, so no weird strategies out of those, but it looks like here comes the battle off pit road. It's going to be side by side between the 27 and 57, just like they came in. Mueller just ahead of Rambler as they work their way back into traffic.
Darren Clements, your race leader, currently in that number 32. Waiting to see, will he come down pit road as we are under 30 laps? He goes to the outside of Scottless Rambler. I believe Scottless might have had to serve a penalty for speeding on pit road, so his strategy call might be out the window with that penalty.
And as I look around the field, I'm trying to find some strategies or some drivers that are doing something that maybe someone else isn't, and really I've got to turn my eyes back to Bryce Senesac again in that 09 machine. He's 20 seconds behind the leader, but he was the last car aside from the other driver that was out there with him, Gary May, and he might have enough fuel there to make it to the end. It's looking very, very, very close. Definitely not going to make it if we get green-white checkers, but Bryce Senesac, a man known for strategy here in this series, he might be thinking strategy again here tonight.
Well, another driver who is not going to have his strategy work for him is Darren Clements. He is coming down pit road to complete his pit stop, as everyone else will go by. Tyler Holloman will also come down pit road, while Tommy Haynes will be the next car to take over the race lead here at Dover.
And these strategy calls at the end of these races are always so tough to call, especially when you got drivers trying to do everything a little bit different than someone else because they want to be able to get that extra little speed or that extra little bit of time on pit road, or maybe find something that someone else doesn't know about. But right now, Tommy Haynes, he's probably hoping for a caution, honestly, because we're only going to have a couple cars on the lead lap that can come down pit road, and then you'll have a lot of drivers like Michael Mueller that'll have to take the wave by if we get a caution.
Yes, indeed, as we're now waiting to see what will Tommy Haynes do. He's going to stay out another lap here, completing lap 167 of the 190. He's going to come across the line. He's got about over a 10-second lead over Bryce Senesac, as only 2 cars are left on the lead lap. Waiting to see where the 27 of Michael Mueller is. He's just getting ready to come off of turn 2 as well. They're going to be on the same straightaway here momentarily.
And we might be able to get an onboard or take a look at that 09 machine of Senesac. He is shutting it off, clutching the throttle, or clutching the clutch in the corners there, trying to save as much fuel as possible. So that 09 machine, if he thinks he's going to make it, he's committed to it at the moment, as it looks like here comes the 57 going on by him after serving his penalty there. But that 09 machine has damage and everything else, and he's just trying to stretch it here. We'll have to see what happens.
I tell you what, that is some commitment, thinking he can make it. I think it might be safe to say Tommy Haynes might be doing the same thing as well. I believe he might be clutching that car a little bit.
And the only difference between the two of them is Tommy Haynes had to come down about 5 or 6 laps sooner, I believe, because he was on not only older tires, but was struggling with that machine in traffic here, as here comes the number 27 machine of Michael Mueller, trying to get his lap back on the 17 machine. Big dive to the inside, no problem for the 27, and here comes the 66 to follow and get one of his laps back as well.
Under 20 to go here at Dover International Speedway. Tommy Haynes, currently your race leader, trying the fuel strategy game to try and win the race here. But Michael Mueller, Nick Hunt, and Mike Rominger have something different to say, as they are able to get back on the lead lap here, as here comes Tommy Haynes down pit road. He is not going to be able to make it on his fuel strategy. Safe to say his day might be done as far as for a strong win, as Bryce Senesac will now take over the race lead here at Dover.
And that really brings me to question if Senesac is going to be able to do it here. He came down on lap 129, and that would be stretching that fuel a long ways here. I feel like another 5-10 laps he'd be able to be good, but especially with green-white checkers potentially in the books, this is just going to be a tough one for that 09 machine. I think at this point he's clutching, he's holding on, he's waiting for a caution. And that might be the only thing that Bryce Senesac is hoping for at this point, because I don't think that 09 machine can quite make it to the end.
I can tell you what, though, Michael Mueller is on a charge. He is now 8 seconds back from the likes of Bryce Senesac, as they're now coming out of turn 2, while the likes of Senesac is still out on the racetrack coming off of turn 4. I mean, give Bryce some credit. I mean, he is willing to take this all the way to the end. He is showing the commitment that he wants to win this race, even though it is going to be quite a long shot for him as he comes off of turn 2. Here comes Michael Mueller as well. He is way off of turn 2. They're going to be on the same straightaway just about almost, as the gap is winding down. Under 6-7 seconds now separate the two drivers.
And that just is so crazy, and that tells you the time difference between these laps here. That 09 machine was just passed by the 27, 6-7 laps ago, and here he comes after getting his lap back, trying to get the lead back.
Currently right now, though, Michael Mueller has no pressure at all for the battle. This could be him taking home the win, possibly. He has about a 3.5 second lead over the likes of Nick Hunt, as the gap now drops to 3.2 seconds between him and Senesac, as they are closing in. As we're closing into the final 10 laps off of turn 4, Senesac still trying to hold out onto the racetrack with fuel strategy. Michael Mueller, though, closing in, stalking the likes of Senesax in that 0-9, now down to 2.2 seconds, separating the two drivers as they come off of turn 2.
And we'll just have to see as Senesax trying to navigate the number 10 machine. That's really slowed him down. I mean, of course, the old tires isn't doing him any favors as well, but that slowed him down. And just like that, Michael Mueller's closing here on that 0-9. And we're getting close to 10 laps to go, but I don't see, without a caution, if that 0-9 can really hold on to much more.
He is going to try for it. Here comes Mueller as he's going to get by the likes of Gary May in that number 10. Coming off of turn 4, Bryce Senesack still your race leader as it's now under 1 second. Half a second even. Here he comes. Michael Mueller going to take a look to the inside to get under Bryce Senesack, new race leader, Michael Mueller.
That right there just shows Mueller's consistency here tonight, able to drive that number 27 machine as smooth as possible. And now for the 0-9 machine, he's got to make a choice. If he thinks that he can almost make it to the end, he's either got to stay out hoping for that caution, or he's got to drive it as slow as possible to try to maintain as many spots as possible and maybe make it to the end here without a caution. So that 0-9 has to switch gears. Relatively the same strategy, but he's got tough choices ahead.
Michael Mueller, your new race leader, pulling away from Bryce Senesack, as well as Darren Clements, who is now down to 3.7 seconds, now separating those two drivers. As we're now under 10 laps to go, Mueller having to now get ready to navigate through the lap traffic of John Sterling and Rob Haynes, as those two are coming down the front straightaway. Those two drivers showing great speed early on, but due to the fact of some unfortunate events of early pit stop strategies and mistakes on pit road, costing them the chance to take home the checkered flag here. As we're waiting to see what's going to happen, here comes Bryce Senesack now having to deal with the likes of Lee Overton, who's going to look to the inside to get by him. Here comes Darren Clements as well. Move him up to the second position as they get ready to come off of turn 4, with Tommy Haynes and Nick Hunt trying to get by them as well.
Yep, Clement's able to make it by, so move that number 32 machine up into second position here. He's about 3 seconds behind Mueller, but time is running out.
Yes, indeed. 5 laps to go here at Dover International Speedway. Michael Mueller working through lap traffic as he gets by the 73 of Alan Fox, with Sterling and Haynes in front of him as they go down the back straightaway. Still about a 3-second gap between him and Darren Clements. As we see right behind him, Alan Fox almost gets up into the wall, but is able to recover and hold on. Unfortunate for him, for the front row starter early in the race, dropped down to 15th, 4 laps down. So having a rough night is our points leader, Alan Fox.
And Bryce Senesack is still out there hoping to make it to the end as time is running out, and hopefully he can make it happen. But that Sunoco racing fuel is also running out for him here, as he is really turning it off there in the corners, hoping, hanging in there as long as possible. Nick Hunt's gotten by him, and looks like a couple of other drivers have as well. Nick Rominger, Michael Mueller, 2.5 seconds ahead, Darren Clement.
Here we go. 3 laps to go here at Dover. Michael Mueller getting ready, doing a great job, doing what he needs to do. The gap is still about 2.5 seconds between the top two. As Mueller comes off of turn 2. Ooh, a little issue for Joshua Gillen. He has blown his motor. Unfortunate for him. He is able to get, though, below the apron and prevent any more serious issues here on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one there, especially after limping around for so long. It's still 2.5 seconds. But, Darren Clement does get a little bit closer, but with only 2 laps left in the book here at Dover, I don't think it's going to be enough unless we get a phantom caution out of nowhere here. We're going to be coming to the white flag.
1 lap to go here at Dover International Speedway. Michael Mueller leads the charge right now, a 2-second gap. He has to deal with lap traffic, but he's not going to push the issue as they go down the back straightaway for the final time. Michael Mueller holds off. He is going to do it. Michael Mueller out of turn 4 for the final time. He will take home the victory here at the Monster Mile. He will beat the monster.
Yeah, that was probably the hardest thing to do here tonight as Darren Clement comes away in second. Nick Hunt is going to be coming across the stripe in third, followed by Rominger, Hallman, and then Senesac coasting across the line.
What a job by Senesac. Coming home in 7th position, or 6th position actually. So a great run for the 09 car. While the rest of the field comes around to complete their laps, we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we'll do a rundown of the top field and interview your top 3. We'll be right back.
Gotta love this time of year. Only one can be champion. Let's go playoff racing! I said, hey! There's no surrender. Let me hear my battle cry. 40 of the best sim racers. $100,000 on the line. Who will rise to the challenge? This is the most competitive and sought-after season in iRacing World Championship history. This is where legends are made. This is the Porsche Esports Super Cup.
Welcome back to Dover International Speedway for the Ricmotech Cup Series here. And what I gotta tell you, a great race indeed. Let's take a look at the Ford Entertainment Group full race results. Currently, your winner here at Dover, Michael Mueller, takes home the checkered flag. Darren Clements comes home in 2nd place, followed by Nick Hunt in 3rd. Mike Rominger will come home in 4th position, followed by Tyler Holloman, rounding out your top 5. Bryce Senesac, with a great strategy, coasting to the line, will come home in 6th, followed by Jerry Glenn in 7th. John Sterling will be the last car on the lead lap to come home 8th, while the likes of Tommy Haynes comes home 9th, and Lee Overton will round out your top 10.
Just outside the top 10, the number 29 machine, Rob Haynes, with heartbreak there. Issues getting into pit road on that final green flag pit stop of the night, taking him out of contention for the win, followed by Gary May, there in 12th in that number 10 machine, able to pull a little bit of strategy there with Brightest Senesac to get that position. Scottless Rambler there in the 57 will be in 13th, followed by Bobby Tinch. Alan Fox in 15th, followed by Joshua Gillen, who blew his engine there late in the race. David Weishart, with connection issues all night long, was able to come away 17th, 23 laps down. Randy Perdue behind him, followed by Ed Morris, David Elliott, Adam Eisenhower, Jay Pryor, Mike Franklin, and Travis Pryor, with the last 5 or so drivers there finishing behind the wall.
Unfortunate for those drivers, but that's been a look at the FEG full race results. FEG PCs has been serving the iRacing community with custom-built, affordable computers, specifically built and tuned for iRacing. Your PC will come with everything you need preloaded so that you can get to racing as soon as it hits your doorstep. Get yours today and join the 600-plus iRacers already enjoying an FEG PC. PCs to fit every budget from $540 and up. Visit www.fepc.net and mention code LSRTV10 and get your build quote today. With that, we are going to take the time to interview our race winner, Michael Mueller. Michael, congratulations on taking home the checkered flag. Tell us how that race went for you.
Wow. I mean, this car is nuts here. I mean, it's like a roller coaster. I mean, we started up front. Great calls all day by my crew chief, Andrew Mraz. I mean, hats off to that guy. I mean, he's amazing. I mean, we kept it up front, kept it clean. We avoided some incidents. Pretty much a full day you could do. I mean, wow. Finally get a win this season. We've had a lot of close ones, but this is going to be a good one to go in the chase with.
Yes, indeed. A great win for you. But tell us early on, you did have to battle and earn this one indeed, as you had that battle with the likes of several different drivers.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, everybody's so evenly matched. We got a couple quick cautions. I knew I wasn't very good on the short run. I had to have the green flag runs. That's where I was really getting everybody. So, I mean, we had those couple quick cautions, avoiding some wrecks. I mean, that's crazy, but thank God we got some long runs. We got some green flag pit stops, didn't speed, good clean stops all day. Full day. It's a great day for the team, great day for everybody.
Well, with that, we get ready to head to Daytona. What is your ambition as you have a little bit of momentum on your side?
Love Daytona. It's a home track, so I'm really excited for that. My luck hasn't been the best at Daytona in the past, so we're hoping with this win here, it's going to be a big swing of momentum on our side here and go in and hopefully go 2 in a row.
All right, we look forward to seeing you at the next round at Daytona. And again, congratulations, Michael Mueller, your race winner here at Dover.
And what a heck of a night it was for him to come away with the win, and followed in second that number 32 machine, Darren Clement. He had some ups, he had some downs, but strategy at the end of the race and consistency and staying out of trouble got him second position. He almost was able to get up to Michael Mueller, a second and a half back. Darren, talk me through that final run there.
Well, I knew tires were a big strategy. I seen the two leaders dive off early. I figured I needed to go stay out at least 5 more laps than them. Didn't want to stay out too long because they'd gap me too much. So I just came in and I just put the hammer down, and whatever I could get. And I needed about 5 more laps, and I probably would have challenged for the win.
Well, this season's just had so many different tracks. We've gone from Indianapolis to just a different track each week. You really can't carry a whole lot over. And then next week, going into Daytona, you can't carry really anything over from Dover other than the fact that you're almost always in danger there at Daytona. So what do you do going into next week as we're coming towards the chase? Season's starting to wrap up here with just a handful of races left.
Just try to avoid the wrecks that are going to happen. It's Daytona. You know they're going to come. Try to be in the right spot at the right time to get through that. And just try to walk out of there with at least a top 10 finish. I think this here, second place, puts me in contention for the chase. And I'd like to hold on to that for the next 2 races.
Well, definitely next week going into Daytona. Do you have a strategy with your teammates? Do you go all out? How does this new package really impact Daytona and Talladega? Really hasn't done a whole lot compared to other tracks, but how do you approach it here in the series when you got teams to work with?
Well, we have our own little strategy we've been talking about for the last 2 weeks when we get there. I'm not going to announce that on live broadcast, but, we're hoping it plays out in our favor. And the package is pretty decent. The suck up on the fixed sets is great. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of great guys that race here with us at Extreme, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, before we get off to our third place finisher on the night, who do you have to thank for making it all happen for you?
I got to thank my sponsor, AB Nation, Ricmotech, for putting this on, Extreme for providing the admins and the great racing structure over here, and definitely LSR TV for the great broadcast.
All right, well, thank you, Darren, and good luck next week at Daytona, and we'll see if you make it out. It's going to be a tough one for sure.
With that, we're now with our final podium finisher here, Nick Hunt. Nick, I gotta say, you had a great car up and down all night, but you were able to close the deal on those final pit stop strategy calls. Tell us about your race, and I gotta say, it was quite exciting for you.
Oh yeah, it was. It's a good race. So it's a lot of good tight racing, just a lot of good racing all over that I saw, and I had a big time with it. It was good.
With that, we were getting ready to, after leaving this track, head back down to the state of Florida for Daytona. Is that a track you're looking forward to particularly, or something that you might have some struggles with?
Well, that's one of those tracks that a lot of luck's involved, and anybody can have a good day and anybody can have a bad day. So it just makes everybody a little anxious. So I'm not really looking forward to it, but I think our team can work together and we can do a good job and get a good finish.
We hope that comes out for you. Is there anyone you would like to thank?
Oh yeah, first and foremost, we want to thank Ricmotech for sponsoring our Cup Series here. You know, if you need some good sim racing hardware, wheels and pedals, be sure and check out Ricmotech. Sim Speed Shops for button boxes, Premier Private Car Service, another one of our sponsors here at Extreme. Of course, we want to thank Extreme Motorsports 99 for keeping such a good league going, and all the admins and helping out, and say thanks to my teammates here at Performance Motorsports and LSR TV. Thank y'all for what all y'all do. You're really making us look good here. Thank you.
Well, we thank you for putting on a great show for us here tonight. That was Nick Hunt finishing in the 3rd position. And with that, we come to a close here for the Ricmotech Cup Series. And of course, we could not have done it with any of the following sponsors that have come out here tonight: Ricmotech Performance Sim Racing Equipment, Premier Private Car Service, and Extreme Motorsports 99, and the Ford Entertainment Group. Next week, we will be at the World Center of Racing at Daytona International Speedway. Make sure to tune in next week on Thursday. And also, make sure before you leave, hit that big red subscribe button for both LSR TV and the iRacing Esports Network. And hit the bell to get notified for all other great racing action. With that, I'm Taylor Burris, he's Steve Bonesteel, and Hugo Luis. This is us, LSR TV, signing off.